Good morning, everybody. Listen, all of us have insecurities, things that we feel and wonder and think in our minds, and we've had experiences throughout our life from childhood all the way up till now that make us believe, perceive, and wonder if, maybe there's something wrong with us. Maybe I'm bad or defective or unlovable and not good enough to do the things that I want to do. And then we give up going after our dreams. Do you ever think this? Do you ever wonder if maybe there's something wrong with you? Do you ever wonder if maybe you're just not cut out to go after your dreams? Do you ever wonder or think, maybe I am not important, I'm unlovable, and therefore, if I show people who I am, they're going to judge me, they're going to not like me, and so I better either hide under the facade of who I think people want me to be and pretend to be somebody else, or just not do anything at all. Do you ever think this? Do you ever wonder this? Sometimes we actually will lie to ourselves and say, no, I don't think that, when that's deep inside the core of us. We believe that there's something wrong with us. We're unlovable, we're insignificant, we're defective, we're bad, and we better not show anybody the real side of us. Listen, I've experienced that for a long time. Only way that we will ever start to have progress, and this is where self-love comes from, is when we actually open ourselves up and say, I am lovable, I am good enough, I am worthy, I am not broken, I am perfectly made the way that God designed me. And then we open ourselves up to receive the blessings that God has for us in our lives. But oftentimes, life experiences are telling us, you're not good enough. And we believe what our experiences tell us. We believe the experiential truth of what we think the truth is, what we think and perceive our reality to be based on what we feel, based on what we've been told, based on what we've experienced in our life. And we then believe that another person or thing outside of us validates us enough to say that we're good, we're worthy, we're not broken, there's not something wrong with us, we're not insignificant, and we're important and lovable. And so we're looking to an outside source, an outside influence outside of us to tell us, give us a little stamp of approval, give us a little gold star to say that we're good enough. And then we live our lives all the way into adulthood, seeking after the next high, seeking after the next approval and validation and thing that validates that we're good enough, worthy, and lovable, when in fact it's just an empty addiction. It's just an empty longing for what we were made for, longing for feeling significant. Because deep down we believe that we're not good enough, we're not lovable. Why would anybody ever care about me? We believe this, and then we act in a way trying to prove and validate that we're good enough, trying to show people, trying to get permission from the world around us to just be ourselves. And it's a loop, it's a cycle that we spin in our lives, trying to go after our dreams with a broken framework. Listen, you're not broken. There's not something wrong with you. You are lovable. You are made perfect. You are not defective. There's nothing wrong with you at all. But there's been patterns and beliefs that you've been taught throughout your life that have created a framework that doesn't work. And it's as easy as that to change it. That's it. And the change happens by the belief. Listen, if you want a different result, you're going to have to change something. And oftentimes we believe that, we're going to have to change what we do, but we have to take a step further back from there. What we do is a result of what we believe. And your actions always follow your belief system. And so if you believe that there's something wrong with you, you're broken, you're unlovable, and you're always going to be living your life trying to prove and validate that those things aren't true. That's it. And every single effort and action and activity of your entire existence is just to prove that you're worthy to even be alive. Have you ever experienced that? I know I have for years. Do you ever think that, that one day you're going to prove enough that you're going to finally arrive to the point where you can now just be who God made you to be? The fact of the matter is that day is never going to come from that belief system. And the other fact of the matter is this: that day is now. You are enough. You are perfect. You are lovable. You are exactly the way that God designed you. And there's nothing that needs to change about you. There's nothing that needs to improve. You are not insignificant. You are lovable, likable. And so when we can realize that, we can then say, okay, because the belief that I'm unlovable, we can't love ourselves or have other people love us, or and I'm not even talking about love, exist in a state of just being if we believe this about ourselves. So we have to shift that belief. Declaration, hope, victory, walking in victory, hope, love, joy. Say, you know what? It's okay to show people who I am. I don't need to hide under the facade of who I think other people need me to be okay, to be safe, to be secure in life. There's nothing wrong with me. And we start to believe that. And we start to say, you know what? I am lovable. I am worth it. I am enough just as I am right now. Once we have that belief right there, baseline, that's the baseline. Takes a second to get there because you have to you declare it, you believe it, and now we walk it out. Now we can say, okay, I can receive love, I can receive connection with other people, I can connect with God and invite Him into my life to direct my footsteps, because we're not striving to prove and validate our existence. Now anything is possible from that place. But there's people that live their life on the hamster wheel just trying to get to baseline and then wondering why they can't get to their goals. My friends, the baseline is now. You are enough. You are lovable. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken, bad, defective, insignificant, or unimportant at all. You can let people in, and you don't need to be or change who you are for other people to accept you. Be authentically yourself. You don't need to be a copy. You don't need to be anything different than you are right now. What you do is not who you are. Who you are, that's the baseline. And now you can do anything you want. You don't do things to get love, to get validation. What you're doing does not equate to your worth. Your performance does not equate to your value. Your performance does not equate to your significance, your ability to be loved. It doesn't. You're not going to ever do enough to get to that point if you're living in this place of believing that you have to do to be. And maybe that sounds depressing if you've lived your life thinking that at one point you're going to finally do enough that you're going to arrive. You're never going to. And so when we realize that, you got to flip it. I don't need to do anything to be enough. I am enough as I am right now. And so now, from the overflow of this confidence, this belief, this hope, this joy, I can go and do anything. If there's something I need to change in my life, I can change it. I don't need to be in a relationship that I'm not being fulfilled in. I don't need to be at a job that I don't like. I don't need to constantly do things that I hate and pretend to like things and pretend to be somebody that I'm not, to experience love and be validated that I'm good enough or significant. I just be and exist exactly as God made me right now, with hope, with joy, with love, with peace, not needing to prove or validate that I'm good enough or worthy of love or significance. I just am, and then I show the world around me how I expect to be treated by respecting other people and living as a powerful person. We believe that we are powerless and that other people validate that we're good enough. You got to shift that thinking, flip it on its head, and then from there, from that baseline, now we can go do anything that we want in our life. We can accomplish anything. Nothing is impossible. If there's a change that you want to make in your life, change it. Stop waiting for the moment where you're finally validated good enough to do it. Change something. Learn something new. Grow. Take a look at where you're at right now. Stop being so afraid to be yourself and show people who you are. Just be you. You don't need other people to validate your existence for you to be worthy. You are enough just as you are right now. Stop trying to be anybody else other than who you are. And go after your goals with all that you got. Putting one foot in front of the other with hope, with joy. Listen, my friends, if you think that there's something wrong with you, that there's something broken, that one day you're going to arrive at a point where you're no longer going to be broken, that's a self-defeating loop, and it's not helping you. You are good enough just as you are. And if you're somebody that's feeling that right now and you're still hearing this message that I'm talking about, let me know in the comments below, kind of like, where does that come from? What is that feeling? What are you hoping to happen in your life? It's okay to share that. It's okay to admit to it. It's okay to feel those feelings, to look at them and then help bring peace into that belief system. Help, look at, okay, this is what I've been believing my whole life. What's the truth? And replacing these false beliefs, I'm unlovable, I'm inadequate, I'm defective, whatever that is, with the truth. I am good enough. I am worthy. I am perfectly and wonderfully made the way God had planned for me. And there's nothing that I ever have to do to arrive or change that or become better. I can't ever do anything, so I need to stop trying to and just be and live in peace and say, God, direct my footsteps. Show me what the next step is. I trust you. Open ourselves up to be loved. And that starts by loving ourselves and saying, I am good enough. I am worthy. I don't need to do anything to change who I am, to finally arrive, to no longer be how I feel. You just be. You just shift it in a moment and then walk out one foot in front of the other. In that moment, we're not just stepping into our destiny. We are in our destiny. And then moving forward. Grow your life, everybody. And we'll talk.